Book of Heaven, Volume 11. 1 November to 10 December 1915. Page 113 to 118. November 1, 1915. Jesus wants to pour out his love with those who love him. How the soul can return to him a love similar to his own. This morning my sweet Jesus didn't keep me waiting. He came, though panting and fidgeting, and throwing himself in my arms, told me, "My daughter, give me rest. Let me pour out my love." If justice wants its outpouring, it can do it with all the creatures. But my love can pour itself out only with one who loves me, with one who is wounded by my same love and, delirious, keeps seeking to pour herself out within my love, asking me for more love. And if my love did not find a creature who would let me pour myself out, my justice would ignite even more, giving the last blow to destroy the poor creatures. As he was saying this, he kissed me again and again, telling me, "I love you, but with an eternal love. I love you, but with an immense love. I love you, but with an incomprehensible love. I love you, but with a love that will have no limits and no end. I love you, but with a love that you will never be able to match." Who can say all the titles with which Jesus was saying that he loved me? And for every title which he said, he waited for my answer. Not knowing what to say, and not having sufficient titles to match him, I told him, "My life, you know that I have nothing. And whatever I do, I take from you, and I leave it to you again. So that my things, remaining in you, may have continuous action and life in you, while I remain always a nothing. So, I take your love, I make it my own, and I tell you, I love you with an eternal and immense love, with a love that has no limits and no ends, and that is equal to yours." And I kissed him again and again. As I kept saying, "I love you," Jesus became calm, took rest, and disappeared. Then, he returned and showed his most holy humanity beaten up, wounded, dislocated, all blood. I remained horrified, and Jesus told me, "My daughter, look. I keep in me all the poor wounded ones, who are under the bullets, and I suffer together with them. I want that you too take part in these pains, for their salvation." And as Jesus transformed himself into me, I felt, now grieving, now agonizing. In sum, I felt what Jesus felt. November 4, 1915. The scourge of the war must continue until people and priests are purified. As I was in my usual state, I found myself outside of myself together with the Queen Mama, and I prayed that she would intercede with Jesus to stop the scourge of the war. I said to her, "Mama, mercy for so many poor victims. Don't you see how much blood, how many members torn to pieces, how many moans and tears? You are the Mama of Jesus, but ours too, so it is up to you to reconcile your children." As I was praying, she cried for them, but though crying she seemed inflexible. I cried along and continued to pray for peace. And my dear Mama told me, "My daughter, the earth is not purged yet. People are still hardened, and then, if the chastisement ends, who will save the priests? Who will convert them? The garment that covers the life of many of them is so deplorable that even the lay people are disgusted in approaching them. Let us pray, let us pray." November 11, 1915. One who lives in the divine will feels the very wound which God feels as if it were her own. So she becomes like another Jesus on earth. This morning I felt such compassion for the offenses that Jesus receives and for the many poor creatures who have the misfortune of offending him that I would face any pain in order to prevent sin. So I prayed and repaired from the heart. At that moment, blessed Jesus came and seemed to carry the same wounds of my heart, but, oh, how much larger. He told me, "My daughter, in delivering the creature, my divinity remained wounded by my own love, for love of the creature. This wound made me come down from heaven to earth. It made me cry, shed my blood, and do all that I did." Now, the soul who lives in my will vividly feels this wound of mine as if it were her own. She cries, prays, and would suffer anything, to save the poor creature, and so that my wound of love may not be exacerbated by the offenses of the creatures. Ah, my daughter, these tears, pains, prayers and reparations soothe my wound and descend upon my breast, to be shown to my Father and move him to pity for creatures. Therefore, a divine vein ascends and descends between me and these souls. A vein which keeps consuming their human blood. The more they take part in my wound and in my own life, the larger this vein becomes. It becomes so large as to render them other Christs. And I keep repeating to my Father, I am in heaven, but there are other Christs on earth, wounded with my own wound, who cry like me, who suffer, pray etc., like me, so we must pour our mercy upon the earth. Ah, only these who live in my volition take part in my wound. They are like me on earth, and they will be like me in heaven, sharing in the same glory of my humanity. November 13, 1915. In instituting the Most Holy Eucharist, before giving himself to creatures, Jesus wanted to receive himself. In the divine will, the soul must offer communion as Jesus did. After I had received Holy Communion, I thought to myself, how should I offer it in order to please Jesus? And he, always kind, told me, my daughter, if you want to please me, offer it as my own humanity did. Before giving communion to the others, I gave communion to myself, and I wanted to do this in order to give to the Father the complete glory of all the communions of creatures, and to enclose within me all the reparations for all the sacrileges, for all the offenses that my humanity would receive in the sacrament. Since I enclosed the divine will, I enclosed all the reparations of all times, and since I received myself worthily. And since all the works of the creatures were divinized by my humanity, I wanted to seal the communions of the creatures with my communion. Otherwise, how could the creature receive a God? It was my humanity that opened this door to the creatures, giving them merit to receive me. You, my daughter, do it in my will, unite it to my humanity. In this way you will enclose everything, and I will find in you the reparations of all, the reward for everything, and my satisfaction. Even more, I will find in you another me. November 21, 1915. The current chastisements are only the beginning of the purification of the world. Finding myself in my usual state, as soon as I saw my always adorable Jesus, I begged him, for pity's sake, that he would change the decrees of the divine justice. I said to him, my Jesus, I cannot take any more. My poor heart is crushed in hearing about so many tragedies. Jesus, enough. These are your dear images, your beloved children, who moan, cry and ache under the weight of instruments that are almost infernal. And he, ah, my daughter, yet, all the terrible things that are happening now are only the sketch of the design. Don't you see what a large circle I am marking? What will happen when I will complete the design? At many points they will say, here there was such a city, here such buildings. Some points will disappear completely. Time is tight. Man reached the extent of forcing me to chastise him. He wanted to almost challenge me, incite me, and I remained patient, but all times arrive. They didn't want to recognize me through love and mercy, they will know me through justice. Therefore, courage, do not lose heart so soon. December 10, 1915. Our prayers, actions and sufferings must flow within those of Jesus, to do the good that Jesus did. I was feeling very afflicted because my sweet Jesus, my life, my all, did not make himself seen. I was lamenting, if I could, I would like to deafen heaven and earth with my laments. What a great misfortune, to know him, love him, and remain without him. Can a greater misfortune ever be given? But while I was lamenting, blessed Jesus, making himself seen in my interior, told me with a severe look, my daughter, do not tempt me. What? I told you everything to make you be tranquil. I told you that when I do not come, it is because I have to inflict greater chastisements, because my justice wants it, and I even told you the reasons. Before you did not believe that it was in order to chastise that I was not coming as usual, because you did not hear that great chastisements were occurring in the world. Now you hear them, and in spite of this, you still doubt? Isn't this tempting me? I was shaking in seeing and hearing Jesus so severe. In order to calm me down, he changed his look and, all kindness, added, "My daughter, courage. I will not leave you. I am inside of you, although you do not always see me. And you, unite yourself always with me. If you pray, may your prayer flow in mine, make it your own. In this way, you too will do all that I did with my prayers. The glory I gave to the Father, the good I pleaded for all, you will do it as well. If you work, make your work flow into mine, and make it your own. So you will have in your power all the good that my humanity did, which sanctified and divinized everything. And if you suffer, may your suffering flow in mine, make it your own, so you will have in your power all the good that I did in redemption. With this, you will take the 3 essential points of my life, and as you do so, immense seas of graces will come out from you, and pour out for the good of all. And I will look at your life, not as your own, but as mine.